our neighbor's precious tree. It was indeed needed of a trimming, but apparently not by us. I'll never forget the look on our neighbor's face. Needless to say, that was the last of our landscaping projects. Erik was sweet and thoughtful. He graciously agreed to be Joseph in our neighborhood Christmas plays and was always a polite and considerate boy. I remember one day in 4th grade, Erik was reading the novel Where the Red Fern Grows. He had been close to completing it when I noticed that he looked extremely sad. I asked if the book was a sad story, to which his reply was something along the lines of this. Yes, Haley, it's sad. But sometimes things and people must be sad before they learn what it means to be happy. If Erik were here today, I believe he would reiterate that statement, that true joy can be experienced in the midst of great suffering. I recently read a passage from a book in which the author explained that we are chosen, blessed, and broken to be given, not only in life, but in death as well. Death does not have to be our final failure, our final defeat in the struggle of life, our unavoidable fate. But rather, as odd as this sounds, our death can be a final gift. Just as Kyle's passing brought us closer together, Erik's also has borne once again intimacy with one another, cherished memories, and the tenderness of empathy. No matter how many years we live on this earth, we have the opportunity to contribute our joy, peace, and love to those around us, and when our time comes, leave it behind so that it might embrace others and be celebrated for all eternity. I believe this is true for Erik's life. Erik has left behind his joy, peace, and love for all of us to enjoy and cherish. And I know that he will forever be loved and remembered in all our hearts.
I've known Erik for the large majority of my life. We have gone to church together since we were little kids, and we were in school together from 5th grade. The first time he asked me to marry him, we were in the 7th grade. We were playing a game, and it required boys and girls to match up and get married. So in junior high, we girls all had nicknames for all the boys, so we could talk about our crushes behind their backs, and nobody would know. Erik's name was the English Muffin. Apparently, we didn't actually know he wasn't English. But unfortunately, at that time, I rejected his proposal, and I married a different boy. It wasn't until years later that I realized what an incredible man he was. We had many classes together throughout the years, but it wasn't until our junior year in high school that we finally connected. He wanted to ask me to prom, but was taking a really, really long time to do it. So my best friend Haley stepped in and took control of the situation. I got a call one night from her after swim practice informing me that her dog Scooter had gone missing and asking if I could please come help search for him. I had my suspicions, but when I pulled up to her house, she had tears streaking down her face. I later found out this was because she accidentally poured eardrops in her eyes instead of eye drops. That's true friendship for you. So she says to me, Erik, can you go in the direction of Tenaya Park? Can you look for Scooter? So I go, yeah, okay. So I go and I'm yelling out for Scooter, and I sounded like an idiot. And I come to the end of a path, and Erik is standing there, and he's got this single yellow rose. And he goes, Erik, would you go to prom with me? And so of course I said yes. So after that, we started spending a lot more time together. And then one night we were at my house, and we were watching The Princess Bride, and I dropped him off at his house, and he turns to me and he says, Erik, I think we should be boyfriend and girlfriend, because it would be kind of ridiculous if we didn't. So that's pretty sound logic, and I couldn't deny it. So after that point, we were nearly inseparable, and I know Raul was jealous. He threatened my life many times in many different creative ways, but I was loving every second of it. We had cooking adventures during which we mastered the art of cream cheese crab wontons. We attempted and failed at creme brulee, and I was shown the folly of my ways for liking my steaks medium well instead of medium rare. We took trips to Monterey, San Francisco, Santa Barbara, and Shaver Lake. I could write a book on all the stories and memories we have shared. But suffice it to say that Erik meant a great deal to me, and will always have a special place in my heart. He was my first love, and I will never forget him. Our song was Unchained Melody by the Righteous Brothers, and while we never got a chance to dance to it in this lifetime, I'm sure I'll get a chance someday. It's true what they say, gone but never forgotten. He will live in on my heart forevermore.
Okay, boys, your turn.
I have known Eric like a lot of the people here since our days in Manchester, and went with him through Manchester and middle school at Computech, and then high school at Edison, and especially a lot of great memories going through water polo and all the fun times there. And I've got a lot of really great memories with Eric, but I think the most important thing I can share with you today is just how he, more than any particular memory, just brought joy to so many people. When I think back to all the times that we shared, I can just picture Eric with his big old ears hanging out and a smile all the way out to them. And just so full of joy, and brought us so much joy. And I just thank his parents so much for bringing him into this world and sharing him with us for that time.
The first day I met Eric, it was my second day of high school. First day I spent in a line for hours just waiting for my schedule because I forgot to print it. So I walk into my programming class second period, and there he is in the back row with me. Now, if anyone knows who we are, they'll know that putting me and Eric in the back row of a class together is a bad idea. Because we didn't get much programming done. We played hacky sack. And then we played flash games on the computers. Needless to say, at some point, our teacher got angry at us, and then he came and took our hacky sack. His excuse? It can poke an eye out. We never did get the hacky sack back, but I didn't realize that that one boy next to me in my programming class would turn out to be one of the most influential people in my life. As the years progressed, we grew closer, and finally we graduated high school. And this last summer, we spent a lot of time together. Yes, we started the summer with our camping trip, and man, he kept us alive. He kept us well fed and dry too, because when we got there, it was pouring. And me and Aaron have never set up a tent before. So we're trying to figure this thing out, and Eric's just like, no, this is how you do it. You put the rod through there and then set it up. So me and Aaron are just like, okay, we'll do it. So when the tent's finally set up, we get it, and we realize we're hungry. So Eric's like, okay, hold on. We'll wait for the rain to stop a little, and then I'll cook you something. Eric kept us fed the entire time, but he also became a hiking Nazi. The laziest boy I know. And lazy is the perfect word for him, because I would sit on the couch with him, and he'd make me go get him a drink. So I wasn't expecting to hike the entire national forest we were staying in one day. Yeah. And it's funny because every trail we would go on, there would be tiny off-path beaten trails that really led nowhere. And one time I was joking with him and I said, oh look Eric, there's a secret path over there. And it turns out it actually was because we saw a rope ladder past the trees. Now, knowing us three, we decided to climb it. Eric went up first, then Aaron, and then it was my turn. Now, it just rained a lot the night before, so the wall that the rope ladder was on was muddy. And I was wearing sandals because my shoes were soaked. So as I'm trying to climb up this rope ladder, he starts cutting the rope on me. And he's just laughing the entire time. And so I'm trying to hurry, but my feet slip, and I just face plant into the mud wall. And his response was, "You're already brown." But sadly, when we got up there, we realized the trail went nowhere. So we had to go back down. Yes. And then after the camping trip, we had summer school together. We had a poli-sci class, and we would sit there for hours. And I would go to sleep. He'd be awake though. And I'd wake up with my notebook full of drawings from him. And I'm just wondering, why don't you draw in your own notebook? He's like, I don't want to waste paper. And so I would always have to take my notes on a different page. And then we started playing this game. I don't know how it started, but as I was walking through the doorway to our class one day, he grabbed my backpack and then threw it against the side of the door frame, which made me go along with it. And this eventually led to me doing it back to him. And then we just kept doing it over and over until it ended up with us walking 5 feet apart, walking to the class, yelling at each other when we were talking. Yes. And then one day, we were invited to go to a rope swing. Some of you know the story, but Erik, being my first time at the rope swing, Erik said I had to go from the highest point. And I had never done it before, and I was blind as a bat without my glasses. And so the way to do it was I had to jump up and grab higher on the rope, otherwise I'd hit this root that was hanging out. I missed the rope. I tumbled down the hill, and now I have this scar going across my back. And I'll always remember him for that. Yes. After that, we had one last trip to LA, where we actually had to spend 10 minutes explaining this one with Marco.
Death is at your doorstep, and it will steal your innocence, but it will not steal your substance. And you are not alone in this, and you are not alone in this. As brothers we will stand and we'll hold your hand, hold your hand. And you are my